What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the live stream. I'm Josue from Josue's Exotics, and as you guys like to know, I make videos about my reptiles and amphibians and how to take care of them. And a little while ago, I put out a post on the channel asking you guys for some videos that or video ideas that you guys would like to see in the future. So one of the guy that we're going to talk about today, and then as you can tell from the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about the Asian water monitor. So if you're interested in monitor lizards, this might just be the video for you. And we're doing it in a live stream, so you guys can interact in the comments over here if you guys would like. If you want to ask any questions about these guys as well. And for the people that's watching on the replay, you can always go back. You can always write down in the comments want any questions, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I do take care of these animals on a daily basis and things like that. So do pretty much know a good chunk about these guys, and I love to share the information with you guys what I learned about. And I'm planning on getting one in the future. So hope you guys enjoy this. Let's see. Go and pull this up real quick for you guys. Boom. So as I mentioned before, we're gonna be talking about Asian water monitors. So a lot of you guys may ask the question, what is the Asian water monitor? Well, the Asian water monitor is from scientific name is Varanus salvator. And if you don't know, the reason why the name's always in italicized, well, it's always italicized because with the Carl Linnaeus classification of species, you normally do this, and the first letter of the family name is capitalized, and the genus genus name is capitalized, and species name is lowercase. But they are pretty much large-bodied lizards, and they are sexually dimorphic. So if you guys do not know what sexually dimorphic means, that means that there is a difference in size between the sexes in the males and females of the water dragons. So the generic name for Varanus is derived from the Arabic word wara, which translates as monitor. The specific name of the Latin word for savior denotes the possible religious connotation that it has with the Salvator part of its name. So, and it's sometimes they're occasionally confused with the crocodile monitor, which is the Varanus salvadori, because of their similar scientific names, obviously. And also, they're one of the second heaviest lizards in the world, next to the Komodo dragon, of course. So, what exactly are monitor lizards? If that's what you're probably asking yourself, if you guys are just now tuning into this, let's check the comments real quick, see who we got in here. One second, let's see here. So we got two people watching. That's good, good, good. But yeah, so what are monitor lizards, guys? Monitor lizards are lizards belonging to the Varanus family, and they are native to Africa, Asia, and Oceania. And one species is also found in Americas as an invasive species, and about 80 species are now recognized today. So generally, these guys have long necks. They come with powerful tails and claws and well-developed limbs, meaning forelimbs and hind limbs. Let's see. Mostly these guys are terrestrial, but there are certain exceptions. There are a couple arboreal species and some semi-aquatic species as well. And as you guys know, I like to keep it scientific. So up here on the right side of the screen, as you guys can see, is a a phylogenetic tree of the families of these, I believe, the lepidosaurs. So with the lepidosaurs, that's going to pretty much include everything from serpentes all the way up to Iguanidae, Geckoda, Lacertidae, Teidae, and all the rest of them. And these guys in Varanidae are going to be the closest relatives to uh well, the Amphisbaenidae, Trogonophidae, and the Serpentes. So pretty much one of the closest relatives to snakes, compared to the Anguidaes and Xenosauridae, Skinkidaes, and all the rest of those guys. So that's just a little bit of scientific information for you guys. Ants and pets, we'll be getting to that in a little bit later on in the live stream. So just hold that question there, and I will put it up on the screen real quick for everybody can take a look at it and see what he asked. He asked, "What do they mainly eat?" So I'll definitely answer that question in just a second. So let's keep it on rolling. So how are you guys doing today, everybody in the live stream? By the way, appreciate you guys coming by, hanging out. Make sure you hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel. Share the video out. If you want to see more similar content. But going back to this, so what type of monitor lizards are there? So this is another question I get commonly asked with people that don't know too much about reptiles in general. So types of monitor lizards include one of the more popular ones, as you see right here on the right side of the screen, is the Komodo dragon, which you guys know is one of the few venomous lizards, I believe, actually in the world. So the difference is a lot of people get confused where poisonous and venomous. One way that you can tell the difference is that venomous is something that bites you and kills you, versus poisonous is something you have to physically ingest and makes you sick and kills you. So totally two different things. So next up we have Nile monitors. Those are pretty cool. You got Asian water monitors, savanna monitors, croc monitors, and mangroves. These are just a few of the actual monitor lizards out there. There's a whole lot of them, a whole lot more actually, like Ackies. Can't think. I know Ackies definitely one that's not up there, and a couple more. So if you guys know any more monitor lizards, definitely tell me down in the comments or in the live chat, and we can discuss those too as well. But I do have a couple pictures of some different ones. You can see this one is the Komodo dragon. Pretty awesome, badass lizard in my opinion. They're super large, huge. This one is going to be. Let me see here. I believe that one's going to be your Nile monitor right here. This is going to be your Savannah monitor. Really cute face. I love the look here in this one. You also have the Croc monitor here. As you can tell, they have a little bit longer nose. They look a little bit different. You have your mangroves here. Mangroves are really, really pretty monitor lizards, in my opinion. I love them to death. So another question you want to ask yourself is, where are these guys actually from? So these guys are actually from, as you can see, they inhabit obviously Asian water monitors inhabit all of Asia. I mean, because they're Asian water monitors, so self-explanatory there. But they can be in India, Bangladesh, Myanmar, and what Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, Malaysia, Singapore, and a couple of the outerline islands in the Philippines and stuff like that as well. So these guys are pretty readily available, especially with them being semi-aquatic, so they can pretty much be anywhere. So, what type of environment do they actually prefer? So, I got some stuff here for you guys. So, while they prefer living in aquatic habitats, these lizards actually live in a wide variety of ecosystems. You can find them inhabiting wetlands, swamps, including mangrove swamps along riverbanks, canals, and more. And they also live in close proximity to humans on occasion, utilizing swampy areas of farmland and other things around the suburbs and man-made canals. So obviously, this would be an animal that could thrive in Florida probably. So you gotta definitely be careful and when you see about getting one of these guys for sure. And this species also prefers habitats with flat areas for them to dig burrows, and their burrows often lie close to the river or stream and are more than likely partially flooded because it's semi-aquatic. Sorry guys, give me 1 second. But yeah, so that's pretty much their natural habitat. And they've adapted, like I said, to live next to humans. So they're really awesome creatures. Just look at this face. Like, you can't be mad at that. But another question you have to ask yourself is, do these guys actually make good pets? So That is a real good question, in my opinion. Is is the second largest monitor lizard, well, second largest lizard in the world, a good pet to have? So ask yourself that. You guys tell me down in the comments or in the live stream what you guys think, if these guys make good pets or not. Because I think they do, as long as you have the space requirements that you need to take care of them. So obviously, the first thing up here says depends on the individual. This meaning two different things, meaning that depends on if you're going to be able to be the person that's going to take care of this thing that can get upwards of 5 feet long and can weigh up to 40 pounds and have claws that can shred you to pieces. And not only that, have razor sharp teeth that can shred you to pieces. But it's all in good handling and how you raise your animal and, other factors like that. But the price is a real huge contributing factor to this, because these guys can range from what, 3 to $500 all the way up to $15,000, depending on what you want in your actual animal. I believe they tend to charge a little bit more for captive born animals, and also ones that's been acclimated to humans and tamed down and things like that. People tend to go for those because that's something that can be bred into animals. So those are definitely going to be the ones that are more expensive. You also have your wild caught animals. People tend to say stay away from that, but those tend to be fine as well, as long as you make sure they don't have any diseases or any kind of parasites, internal parasites, mostly, and external ones too. You have to physically check them and see all that kind of stuff. Ants and Pets said they would probably make a good pet if the owner could be able to provide what it needs. Most definitely, I agree with that, because that's another reason why I make this video, so that way you guys can get a idea of what needs to be done with these animals, because it's a lot that it needs to go into these guys. For one, they can live up to 15 years long, as I got here on the slide here. Um, Another thing is they need super large enclosures as adults. Like, even as, like, you know what I mean? You have to have a whole room for this. For a 5 foot animal that roams for miles and like they're scavengers, you got to have room for them to move around and do things and their care and maintenance and stuff. And from temperature drops and basking spots, and we'll get into all that good stuff in just a minute. So just bear with me. So next up, they can. One good thing about them is they can be fed a good variety of different household meats, chicken, poultry, that kind of stuff. They do eat rodents as well, so that'd be another staple of their diet. But if you just happen to have something like that left over, feel free to give it to your monitor lizard. Next up, they have nails or claws, I should say. As you can tell in this photo here, you can look how razor sharp those claws are, and they will literally shred you. Even baby ones can shred you up pretty good just with their claws, because they can get pretty decent claws on them. I believe you can cut them too and try to keep them filed down, but that's going to be kind of stressful on the animal trying to do that as well. So that's another thing to consider, but they are tameable. I've seen a lot of different YouTubers that have these guys, and they tame down fairly decent. I enjoy like watching what Nerds video from Kevin. He has a lot of Asian water monitors that he does a real good job with taming them down, and the captive born ones, things like that. So that may be something you would like to look into. But there's plenty of other places that also sell Asian water monitors if you would like to get one as well. So how do you care for these guys? So this is something that may take a second, may take a 2 minutes. So we'll see how it goes. So with these guys, let me go to my sheet here. So with these guys, there's a lot of different things that you have to go consider, like basking areas, ambient temperatures, and things like that. So we're getting into the reason why you have to have all these as well too, so that way you guys can, like I said, give you the most information what I can about these. So as it says right here, the basking area for these guys is around 120 to 150, 140 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm guessing like similar to like a bearded dragon or something like. Why am I not in focus? Hmm. How am I not in focus? That's weird. There we go. Cool. Now we're back. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, so I guess it's similar to what a bearded dragon would have. And this is one of the main reasons why is digestion. So, well, these guys, if you do not give them a high enough basking temperature, they use a lot of this to digest their food, things like that, and it helps with energy levels with all these guys. So this is a real important thing to make sure you have a good basking area for these guys because digestion can also lead to some other potential causes of illnesses later on down the road. We'll get into that to the following slide. So I'll wait to save that for later. So ambient temperature is another thing. So this is outside of the actual basking area. You just want the general temperature to be around in the mid 80s. 80 degrees is probably fine as well too. So as long as you kind of getting that ambient temperature in there, and then you have your good basking area, these guys will probably thrive for you really well. And they live around 70% humidity, which is something that can be checked with a hygrometer. And that's something you can always get online easily from like Amazon and places like that to make sure you keep your humidity levels up to par because it helps with shed thing. And also, if it's too wet, it can cause issues. As long as it's too dry, it can cause issues as well. So you kind of want a good medium level in that. So definitely check that out. You want a very large water area because these guys are semi-aquatic lizards. You want to make sure they can put their entire body inside this bowl and fit in there, and maybe even a little swimming area too. So, and this is definitely going to grow with their size as well because they're going to get like 5 feet long eventually. You want to make sure you have a lot of sturdy branches and platforms in there so they can climb around, do their arboreal thing if they want to do that too. Include a lot of different hides in there so they can have hiding spots so they can feel safe, secure. But another thing over here, I put a 40-gallon enclosure minimum. I put that for babies in general because with your yearlings and newborns, you may be able to get away with keeping them in there, but they're extremely active lizards and they move around a lot, and you wanna have space for them so they can thrive. So they can thrive and get all that enrichment that's really gonna help them grow and be healthy lizards, monitor lizards, that is. So what do they eat, guys? Let me check the comments, make sure we're not missing anybody's comments here. Sorry, guys. Doing a lot here. What's going on, Moon over Miami? Yep, it's the Midnight Cowboy here. So we appreciate you stopping by, checking us out on live stream, man. Because we're having a good time talking about monitor lizards, learning about them, and giving off some pretty cool information. So, also, if you guys, if you don't know, if I left out anything with all this care guide stuff and things like that, make sure you tell me down in the comments or in the live chat so I can always add them into a following up video to make sure we giving you guys all the best information we can because that's what I'm all about. All right, let's see. All right. So as far as food and nutrition go, as babies, these guys tend to be pretty much insectivorous, meaning that they eat majorly insects like crickets, roaches, that kind of small things that they can eat fairly easily. And like gut loaded crickets would be a real good thing. So you want to make sure you always give your feeder insects nutrition, things like that, so that way they can pass that on to the animal actually eating your feeder insects. So they make a lot of good things like Reptical, Reptivite is a lot of stuff that get calcium supplements in them. Flukers makes a lot of meal supplements and stuff for crickets you can give to them. It gives them high calcium but the reason why I'm saying all this is because another reason is these guys have very large appetites. So a key thing to watch out is make sure obesity is not happening with your monitor lizard. Since these guys eat so much and are hearty eaters, you want to make sure you watch their weight constantly so that way they don't get obese and they can pretty much devastate their lives and shorten their lifespan like tremendously. So this is something you always want to watch out when feeding your monitor lizards. So your hatchlings probably need to be fed almost daily since they're going to be eating on the feeder insects. They pass that stuff pretty quick, and in the early stages, just like in humans, Monitors tend to do a lot of growing, and you want to make sure that they can get the most nutrition and the best nutrition as they're growing up in those first year. Really, in my opinion. But like I said, it's just my opinion. But, moving on to about yearlings, they can be fed 3 to 4 times a day, and this is when you wanna start to see a little bit of change in their diet and moving over into that insectivorous phase out of that insectivorous phase, and as adults, 2 to 3 times a week is probably fine. Like I said, they eat a lot, and this is gonna pretty much that's another the deciding factor on that, like, if you're not prepared to spend 2 to $300 a month just in meat and stuff to keep your animals fed, that's a deal breaker for some people. But these guys can feed on mice and other meats, including chicken and fish, as I mentioned before. So you just cut it up and feed it to them, and they'll tear it up, man, all the way. So as far as potential health issues, so there are a few potential health issues with these guys. Let me get down here to it so I can explain to you a little bit better. So, despite their pretty much hardy appearance, Asian water monitors can fall victim to a number of different health issues. And being an uninformed like pet owner, this is really going to be the thing that's going to affect you the most. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this here to help you guys know about these potential things. Because whenever you go get a reptile or any kind of animal, you want to make sure you do your research, as I preach in pretty much all my videos before you actually get the animal. You want to make sure your enclosure set. You want to make sure your temperatures are right. Make sure your water bowls got clean water in it. It's large enough for your animal. You want to know about the illnesses and stuff you may have to deal with down the future, medical things like where's the closest vet, or what can I do if this happens, or you just try to cover all your bases and be prepared for all what you can do, like physically. And some things just out can just get out of hand. You have to let God take the wheel, but moving on. So some potential things, as I mentioned before, I was going to talk about it now, is impaction. So this is one of the main reasons why you want to make sure you get your basking temperatures and stuff right. Because temperatures that are too cold is going to slow digestion, just as temperatures that are too hot can cause burns or things like that, as well as like in the second bullet point here. Hold on, I don't think I got the thing up on the screen. Sorry, guys. There we go. Sorry. Yep. Wrong one. There we go. But yeah, so impaction is pretty much so. Say like if you got that temperature at about 100 degrees, which is not quite hot enough for them, that's going to slow the digestion. And if they don't end up digesting all that food inside of them, they pretty much get constipated. And constipation is, I mean, to be honest, like, hold on. But to be honest, like, have you ever been constipated before? Was it a good night? Really? But anyway. So impaction is a real big thing in reptiles, and that's why they need these basking areas to be where they need to be at. So that way they can get all their food digested, they can pass it through their entire body, poop, get it all out, and get on for the next day. So this is something that I like to preach to a lot of people. Like I said, with doing your research, that's going to help. If you got all your temperatures and everything right, like it needs to be, everything should work smoothly. But if something happens, like lights go out, welcome Isaiah Mohammed Boaz the third. Appreciate you stopping by. Make sure you hit that like button down below. But like I said, yeah, so that's going to make a huge deal. So constipation is a real big thing with these guys. Burns. So say like if it's 180 degrees is what your temperatures is getting on your basking area. These animals, they're not I mean, they're smart, they're intelligent. They can do tricks, they can be taught things, they can be tamed down, but there's only so much you can do. So the things like this, like burns and all, say if your basking area is too hot and they're sitting there, it can cause them to get burned on their back and cause scarring and different things like that. And you definitely don't want that happen to a $15,000 animal, possibly, or however much you decide to spend on them. But I mean, he's your animal regardless of how much he costs. So you want to make sure you always provide that best care for him. Another thing is respiratory infections and fungal or bacterial infections. This is two things we need to talk about too. I'll pull up something to give you guys a little bit more insight on this. So, respiratory infections can come from when your enclosure is too damp or cold. A monitor can get respiratory infections, and symptoms can include mucus, lethargy, open mouth breathing, and other things like that. So you want to make sure you're not keeping that thing. The humidity's too high in it, and you want, like I said, keep that ambient temperature and your basking areas right where they need to be at, so that way your animal can thermal regulate like they need to, and you won't have to deal with any kind of respiratory infections with your animals, because sometimes these things can be deadly, and it's hard for these animals to bounce back from. Next up, you got. Hold on one second. So next up, you got bacterial fungal infections. This can come from an unclean enclosure or stressful environment, and this can make your Asian water monitor more susceptible to these kind of infections and things like that. A lot of these come from when it was too wet and things, and they tend to sit in water. The scales and all can start to rot, things like that, because they tend to sit there and soak in it. I mean, if you sit in a damp area for too long, like what happens to your skin, things like that. It's the same deal with reptiles. So just make sure you're keeping all that stuff together, and that'll help them live for a long, long time. For sure. But yeah, guys, this pretty much does it for the facts and care about Asian water monitors. So you guys wanted a video about monitor lizards, and I came out and got you one. So I appreciate you guys for coming by, stopping by in the live stream. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you want to see some more videos, you have some new video ideas, make sure you tell me down in the comments or tell me in the live stream chat. And we'll definitely see what we can do and what we can have come out with in the future. So we definitely appreciate it, and we will see you guys on the next video. But right before we go, I will play something for you guys, because we do got to give some special thanks to some awesome people that help support us here on Josue's Exotics. And check these guys out, and I'll see you next time.